John Frederick. He's America's Godzilla of truth. All week long, he's world-renowned for his proficient proclivity to prophesy the people's political picks with pinpoint precision. Then on the weekends, he gets with the guys that are pretty wise, and Godzilla wins. Godzilla wins. The sports picking show for win and dough. Money lines, parlays, over-under, the best plays. You choose the game, Godzilla picks the winners. Get expert analysis, exclusive insights, and have a little fun. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Godzilla Wins on the screens of your TV and favorite devices, commanding radio airwaves far and wide. Before you make that play, hear what the Godzilla crew has to say. Presented by WestVirginiaSportsNation.com. It's time for Godzilla Wins all across the John Frederick Media Network. Oh yeah.
For entertainment purposes only.
Welcome to the Godzilla Wins Saturday show. We have an exciting 2 hours for you. We tend to focus on more of the football landscape. First hour will be college football, conference championships galore. We had a couple last night as well. Second hour will be all NFL topics. We'll highlight the game on Thursday night and go over all the games on Sunday for week 14. We're in December. There's still bye weeks. That's just weird to me, but it is what it is. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers. I'm going to be joined by John Fredericks. We have Vince Mayoko, Chris Saxman, Logan Powell, and Trent Connor. And like I mentioned, we do give you some gambling picks. So remember, it's a gambling show, and it's for entertainment purposes only. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. That's Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, New Hampshire, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming, 800-327-5050, or visit gamblinghelpline-ma.org in Massachusetts. Call 877-G-HOPE-NY-text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 in Kansas and New Hampshire, 888-789-777. Visit ccpg.org in Connecticut, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa, or visit opgr.org in Oregon. Just by me mentioning all these different states, that you know how we're worldwide over here, baby. We are expansive. We're on 20 radio stations. We're not just a podcast, but we are. Anywhere you want to get podcast, you can find us on Spotify and all those places as well. We're brought to you by West Virginia Sports Nation and WV The Torch. Welcome to the show, fellas. Exciting week. College football is absolutely taking precedence and domination in the headlines. We have the conference championships today, and also we have some coaching hires, if you will. Last week we talked about Lane Kiffin. John pretty much pronounced Lane was going to stay at Ole Miss, pretty much demonstrably said he was going to be staying. There's no chance he would leave and go to LSU. Why would he go? He just resurrected an SEC school that seems to have all the resources to win, everything that you need. You could be a coaching god, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Lane Kiffin does what Lane Kiffin does, Chris, and he decided to hightail it and go to LSU. I think he's just waiting to go to Alabama, but he's just stopping at LSU in the meantime. What do you think about this whole fiasco, debacle, or however you want to call it?
I mean, you hit it right on that. What Lane Kiffin do? He moves, he goes somewhere else, he tries to improve his lot in life. He's been all over the damn place. NFL bust. Was at Tennessee for what, 2 years, maybe a year? What was he? One. I forget. It was one. So. This is just what Lane Kiffin does. It's just who he is. Let's just look. And everyone puts these kinds of decisions in the context of what they would do, right? Oh, I would stay at Ole Miss. Oh, I would do X, Y, and Z. I would just take the money and stay. That's not who these guys are. Coach knows these guys. When you compete at that level, they want to be at the very best program, having the very best situation. And that's what he did. And that's probably what the guys said. Like, just move to LSU.
Coach, yeah, and you bring up Coach Vince. You're in this world. What is the pressure like? And could you imagine recruiting, building up this program, talking to the kids in the locker room, and then just leaving them high and dry after the best season they've ever had?
Yeah, and you know what? Nick Saban said this a couple weeks ago, I believe, on game day, where he said it's really not a coach's issue at this point in time. It's the NC2A and how that whole thing is organized. Until we create, especially at the D1 level, D1 basketball and D1 football, where a coach has to honor his 5-year contract. And the only way he can get out of that contract to explore other options is to allow that university to allow him to do that. In the NFL, when you sign a 5-year deal, you're not shopping yourself around to some other NFL team in year 3 or 4. You have to obligate that contract until you're either fired, terminated, or you reach a mutual agreement with your employer. And until the NCAA does that, that's their problem. It really is. And as much as I wanted Kiffin to stay at Ole Miss, I would have, okay, but that's me.
Right.
Lane Kiffin can go anywhere he wants, okay, until the NC2A gets their act together and figures this out. And until they do that, it's going to get worse.
Yeah, Logan, what do you think is his thought process? Could it be like, yeah, I know things are great now, but if he loses a couple years at Ole Miss, he's on the hot seat right now. He's in control of this situation and control of his life and the narrative, and he can do what he wants to do. But it just seems crazy. You mentioned that 1 year at Tennessee, his reputation was tarnished at that point, and he did a remarkable job of not only becoming lovable and likable to his recruits and to other universities, but to like the whole nation. He was 2 months ago. I'm like, man, Lane Kiffin's a pretty cool guy. He's fun. You can see why people play for him. I just don't know. What do you think is going through his brain, his thought process when he makes these decisions?
Well, I would assume in every industry, there's, those upper echelon of jobs of, where you want to make it. And I think in terms of college football and college athletics as a whole, LSU is definitely one of those jobs where almost any coach would dream to coach at. And just take Lane Kiffin, for example. He's been all over. He's been in the Big Ten. He's been all the way down in the lower level of Conference USA, and now back in the SEC, and now at LSU. First day on the job, he's in his 5-star number 1 overall recruit is in his office. That's why you go to LSU. You don't really. LSU is one of those places where you're not necessarily recruiting, for the coach or even for, the school. LSU itself is able to bring in these 5-stars just because of the stigma around the program, the stranglehold that it has on the state of Louisiana, which is a very good market for athletes. And yeah, Ole Miss, he built that up to what it is today. However, LSU does not need building up. They already have that, kind of like stigma around them, and they already have those players intact and the money intact, where he knows that he has a better chance of winning multiple national championships at LSU compared to Ole Miss, where at Ole Miss, it's a much smaller program for SEC standards. Now, he would be able to, build it up. However, in this new era, it's so much tougher to win national championships considering the Georgias, the Alabamas of the world have so much more money coming in already that if you want to compete, you need to get to that level. And at LSU, he would be able to do that a lot easier.
Yeah.
Hey, Mitch, can I jump in here?
Absolutely.
Hey, we said the same thing when he left Tennessee to go to USC, Logan, and he fell flat on his face. The low point wasn't leaving Tennessee. The low point was getting left on the tarmac at LAX by USC. And that was a point where USC was rolling. We had, you had Pete Carroll with multiple national championships. It was a no-lose situation. And he fell flat on his face. And really, Nick Saban had to resuscitate him by bringing him into Alabama and making him his OC. So let's see what Kiffin does here, because he's been okay at, lower. I'm going to say that Ole Miss is a lower level program, but let's be honest. 5 years ago, they were in the SEC. Now he's with the big dogs, and we will see how well he does at LSU.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point, bringing up Saban a couple of times. I think that's his ultimate goal. He's looking at multiple national championships and and you've got the benchmark right there sitting on College Game Day every day. One of your mentors a couple of years ago, like you just mentioned. Trent, it seems like this college landscape overall tends to make it a lot easier for coaches to do this right now. You've got basically transfer portals nil. There's nobody stays put anymore. There's no loyalty. There's no consistency. A few years ago, if you did this 10 years ago, your coaches were still doing it. Obviously, we had Coach Rich Rodriguez do it at West Virginia, but you faced a lot more backlash. Trent, in this day and age, it feels a little easier to make these decisions considering every kid's leaving yearly.
Yeah, it's definitely easier, and the time frame in which he made the switch helps him a lot. Like, I mean, Rich Rodriguez last year made the switch real late in the transfer portal season, and he got a bunch of transfers that really no one wanted. Lane Kiffin's going to be able to get some players that are actually good and can compete in the SEC. But the key to this is getting a defense, because defenses win national championships. And you got to get a defense that can stop Georgia, that can stop Alabama, that can stop Ohio State in the playoffs. And he's got to put good minds around him, because he's obviously a very good offensive mind. He's got to put a good defensive mind that can recruit good defenders to compete in the SEC.
Yeah, Mitch, real quick. The reason why Ole Miss, a big portion of why Ole Miss is where they are today is because of Pete Golding, who is now the newly appointed head coach for Ole Miss. He is one of the top defensive coordinators in the nation, and he's brought in Ole Miss's defense to one of the top. And, for most of his career, Lane Kiffin has not been able to, field a good defense, kind of like, how Lincoln Riley is at USC and Oklahoma. He hasn't really been able to figure out the defensive side, but for Lane Kiffin, he was able to do that, and he was able to get that success. So at LSU, I think it's imperative that he, finds his Golding at LSU.
Chris, one of those storylines that were going around, and right now you're hearing, Lane came out. He said he wanted to coach the team in the postseason, and said they came to an agreement that if they went to the SEC championship, that the AD was going to let him coach in that game, which I don't see. But he also said that the players voted on it, and the players are now coming out and saying that was just not true at all. There's, of course, some people that are mad at the decision, and it wasn't just this 100% of all the players were down for him to coach in the playoffs. What did you think about that? Do you think the AD should have even considered allowing him to continue coaching?
Yeah, I don't know the relationship, but this whole thing sucks. No one should be allowed to move until after the season is completed. There is just too much money, too many contracts, too much at stake here to go, I'm going to leave in the middle of the season, which essentially this is, because you're going to get into the playoffs, and I'm just going to leave coach. That's just it's despicable that this has to happen in college football. When college football or college sports was supposed to be the amateur, mecca. This is what you're supposed to do it a little bit better than the pros. And it turns out they're doing it a lot worse than the pros. It's one thing to fire a guy mid-season when he has contractual obligations and he's got a buyout and that kind of stuff because he's not performing a la James Franklin, which let's not even touch that one because that's just an absolute dumpster fire of a program now up at Penn State. They'll probably reboot it. But for a coach to do this to his team, I think is despicable.
It is, Vince. It feels like college football is obviously way past what we grew up with in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And but is it damaged? Is it done forever? I mean, there was an SEC chairman they're already talking about, hey, we bring in more fans, more viewers than the NBA and baseball and hockey combined, but we don't make more than any of those leagues. So they're already trying to figure out how to turn this into basically a professional sports league. Which it is. Do they just need to rip the Band-Aid off and just forget calling this amateur sports or college sports and just minor league of the NFL?
Yeah, well, that scenario you just painted about how they're making less and, those other – have we seen the contracts that these universities, these leagues have signed? I mean, really? I mean, the SEC, how much money are they getting from – the various different.
I didn't confirm any of these numbers. You're right. There's so much.
The team contracts.
Yeah.
It's hard to feel sorry for the SEC and the Big Ten right now, isn't it?
No, the hell with them. I'm in the ACC suffering. Look, as soon as, and I've said this for months on this program and years nationally on various other shows and have written about it. You have to do one really important thing with college sports. You have to bifurcate basketball and football and just say we're going to follow up, like I'm watching right now, English Premier League soccer relegation format, and be done with it. And you have to segment off
I waited a half hour.
The Olympic sports, and have them reboot the regional conferences. There's no reason why Wake Forest is flying out to Northern California for conference games for softball and field hockey. It's just stupid. You have to get some reality on here and just deal with it. And the only way you deal with it is that college football and college basketball are the revenue sports. Deal with them differently.
Yeah, for sure. Logan, do you think that, college football can be repaired? Do you still enjoy it as much as when you were a kid? I've said this all along. If they could figure out a way in basketball and football to make these players have to sign multiple year contracts, then at least you could have players that you root for again, not just schools. I don't know. I'm just thinking out of hand here. Logan, how do you feel?
I have no problem with NIL. I know a lot of people have issues with it. I think that for years, the schools and coaches were able to make, hundreds of millions of dollars off these players. So I think it's only right that the players get a little piece of the pie. But the amount of contracts, like Bryce Underwood signing a $10 million deal at a high school, that's kind of insane. But at least it sounds like it's multiple years at least. But no, I think you're right, Mitch. I think that there needs to be some in place to at least 2 years. At least you can stay for 2 to 3 years. Because then at this point, there's so many one and dones for schools that you can't get connected with them. I remember growing up watching Skylar Howard for WVU or watching Will Greer for multiple years, 2-3 years, and you build a relationship with them and you become bigger fans. But now there's so many players that just go 1 year, next opportunity, and it's just that I think is not right. But I think NIL is going to continue to develop and grow, and I do think eventually you might see minimum 2-year contracts possible. I don't know. It's a tricky situation because you don't want to put the players in a box and make them do certain things, but at the same time, you got to make the best product out there. Because back in the day, if you had to transfer, you had to sit out for the following year.
That was a big deal.
That was something like that back then. That was a pretty big deal and pretty insane to think about now. But that was reality back then, and now it's kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum where you can go to a different school on a year-to-year basis and be perfectly fine. I don't think that's right either. So I think they definitely need to fix some things, but it's definitely a work in progress and will continue to get better as the years come on.
Yeah, Trent, at some point, when I was back in my day in the late 90s, could you imagine the Randy Moss saga? Oof. Back then, there were still ethics, and people were like, "No, he did this in high school, and Florida State got rid of him, and then Notre Dame, didn't want him, and all of a sudden, he's picking between West Virginia schools." Could you imagine the transfer portal and all the money they'd be trying to shove at Randy Moss? They wouldn't have cared at all about him getting in a fight in high school. It's just in 25 years where we've gone from that scenario to what we have now, where people don't even care. But Trent, this is the only life right? You've only seen college sports where they're getting paid legally or illegally. It is better than in the 80s when you have SMU and the SEC and the Big Ten. That money was being transferred around. The late 90s, the West Virginia football team drove around Range Rovers, and I'm not going to mention which athletes, but they're getting paid. So at least they're being upfront and doing it on the up and up now. Is that one positive here? And how do you think the college landscape is now in the modern day?
Yeah, there are definitely some positives to take from it. There's transparency, like you said, which is a big step moving forward. And this is still in the baby stages of NIL. So there's a lot of room to grow and a lot of room for structure and for the NCAA to kind of regulate how players move in the portal and what kind of contracts they sign. So I think there's a lot of room for growth. Will it happen with the NCAA? I would bet against it, and it's going to take a lot for them to make those changes, as it always does. But
does the SEC and the Big Ten need the NCAA? And the answer is no.
no.
And the NCAA has to know this and going, we got a real problem here, and they have got to get on this right away. And I mean, declare January the month we're going to fix this thing and get a hold of it. Otherwise, they're going to bolt. There's just too much damn money at stake in this for these schools to go, nah, we're going to stick around, wait for the NCAA to fix this. No thanks. Don't need it.
As Mitch was saying about Randy Moss, if Randy Moss were in college seeking an NIL deal, his saying straight cash homie would be on steroids today, would it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. You're listening to the Godzilla Win Saturday Pick Show. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, joined by Vince Mayoko, Chris Saxman, Logan Powell, Trent Connor, and we bring in John Fredericks. John, you said that Lane was going to stay at Ole Miss last week. He decided to do the opposite and go to LSU. What are your initial reactions to that?
Well, I'm going to pay the fine that the FCC is going to give me right now. The guy's a low-life piece of shit, as far as I'm concerned. You know, he's done this everywhere he's gone. He's destroyed every program that he left. It's all about him. He got the money. Then he took his offensive coaches with him. They could be playing for a national championship. He took them. Look, he did the same thing at Tennessee. He did the same thing at UCLA. This guy is just a piece of garbage. I have no interest in him. You know, you tell a man by his character. You got all those kids there. They worked their tail off for you. They got a legitimate shot at playing in a national championship game, a hell of a shot. He takes coaches. He disrupts the team. And you know what? I hand it to the courage of the AD of Ole Miss that told him to get a box and clean the crap out of his office. And he escorted him out with security. Good move. Hire the interim coach, defensive coordinator. We'll see what happens. But how do you do that to your kids? And I know they're all getting paid. I get it. Okay, I get it. They're kids. Okay, you play to win the game. They've played their tails off for this guy, and this is what he does to them. He abandons them in their greatest hour. You know, a lot of these kids are not going to make the NFL. This is going to be it for them. This is a season to remember that football helmet, that medal. They'll be on their trophy case forever. And you do this to them, you low-life piece of crap. Get out of my face.
Tell us his show. I love it. Hey, I'm with you. I mean, I can see that, and I know the players are getting paid, but you bring up a great point. They're kids, and
they're kids, Mitch.
I couldn't imagine having to leave my university every year or move. You want some stability in there, and he's definitely not providing that. But Lane Kiffin moving on to LSU. At least I'm a Bama fan, so at least I know, root against LSU a little bit harder. Another big coaching hire.
How are you an Alabama fan? I don't follow.
My dad is from Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
My grandfather was saluted. What's the second salutatorian?
Salutatorian.
Yeah, at Alabama.
And compensatory. We did that last.
Compensatory. Oh my God! When I rewatched that, I was just like. It's embarrassing. Can't say. I still can't say it. All right, Penn State. You brought him up. I didn't want to. James Franklin. We brought him up. He went down to Virginia Tech. They're doing some big recruiting things. I wanted to get to that in a little bit. Penn State's coaching hire looked like a complete, utter failure, utter debacle. They all of a sudden just lucked into which I feel is a great hire. They got Matt Campbell from Iowa State. And we've been watching him as West Virginia fans take a program that was nothing in 2009 and turn it into a powerhouse in the Big 12. It's about as big of a powerhouse as you can be in the Big 12 if you weren't Oklahoma or Texas. Vince, it seems like they lucked into this. Every coach they went after, BYU, it didn't matter. Everybody just re-signed their coaches. We're not going to Penn State. It's just a job that doesn't have much upside besides the fact that you're going to get some good recruits, but you have the pressure. If you don't win, and you don't beat Ohio State, you don't beat Michigan, you can be, fired midseason. Vince, what do you think about that whole coaching cycle hire?
Yeah, I agree. I think they lucked out by getting Matt Campbell, especially the way things looked earlier this week when Sataki at BYU decided, thanks, but no thanks. But thank you for increasing my contract at BYU. Okay, great move on his part, by the way. That might be the hiring or the negotiation of the winner so far. But Matt Campbell, interesting. I looked at Matt Campbell's record, and he had started off at Toledo, had some really good success there, parlayed that into the Iowa State job, has had, I think every year he's had winning years except for maybe 1 or 2 years. But ironically, his overall record against top 25 teams is about the same as James Franklin's record. Now, granted, you're at Iowa State as opposed to Penn State, but still, it makes you wonder. That's kind of the bugaboo that Franklin fought was, oh, he can't beat a top 25 team or can't beat the top 10 teams. And ironically, they hired Matt Campbell, who's had some difficulties beating top 25 teams. But overall, I think it's a great hire. The one thing that Campbell does is he develops wide receivers. And I would have never guessed that, but you start looking at the long list of wide receivers he's developed that are in the NFL today. That's kind of something that Penn State has struggled with, is the passing game. And I think we'll see Penn State throwing the ball more than running it in the future.
Yeah, guys, if you know Brock Purdy, that was a Matt Campbell disciple as well. Logan, I think it's kind of funny. He played for Pitt for a year, so this Penn State hire has some Pitt ties to it, but he's from Ohio. He's a great recruiter. It feels like, again, it's a good hire for Penn State. I was hoping that they would get nobody, but Matt Campbell would have been one of the top 3 picks on my list. But who am I? Do you think it's a good hire? What do you think of the?
Yeah, I think it's a great hire. It brings stability back. I mean, James Franklin, he was someone who was going to give you 9 to 10 wins easily, and struggle against the top tier opponents, but get you those 9 to 10 wins. And I think that's exactly what Matt Campbell's going to do. However, he showed that he can do that at Iowa State and getting mostly 3 stars and a few 4 stars. Now that you're in Penn State, you can get the 5 stars, you can get the 4 stars, and be able to compete at a higher level. Now I got to see how he can do against those upper echelon of players like the Michigans, the Ohio States, the Oregons, but what he's done at Iowa State on a consistent basis in the Big 12, which is no slouch. I know some people love to discredit the Big 12. It's still a real, Power 4, really good conference. He's been nothing but consistent. He has had winning record after winning record. He just had in 2024 an 11-3 season, won the Pop-Tart Bowl. I think he's been able to develop a lot of NFL talent. So I think overall this is a really good hire for Penn State. They weren't able to get Shiitake over it from BYU. That would have been the splash hire. But go to plan B, maybe plan C. I'm not exactly sure, but being able to get Matt Campbell brings stability back. You're able to build around him. He's a program builder. He's going to stay. He was at Iowa State, I think, for like 11 seasons. So that he's going to stay. I'm pretty sure he signed an 8-year contract. He's going to bring high-level talent. He's going to bring, like you said, Mitch, an ability to develop offensive talent like the quarterback, like the receiver, and that's what Penn State needs. For a very long time, they've been a very elite defensive team. They just haven't been able to find those elite offensive counterparts, except for the few like Saquon Barkley and such. But overall, they've mainly been a defensive team over the past couple of years, and I think now with Matt Campbell, you might see them become more offensively minded and might be able to at one point compete with the Penn States, with the Oregons, with the USCs, with the Michigans and such.
Absolutely. And Trent, this hire needed to happen now because Penn State was losing players left and right. West Virginia gets Matt Sieg this week. I mean, Virginia Tech Franklin has been ripping out over there. So Trent, what is this fan base for Penn State, especially in year 1 and year 2? Do they need to pull back a little bit? I mean, not that you can, take an entire fan base and say it's your fault, but they put a lot of pressure and they should probably have some more realistic expectations, especially in the first couple of years, right?
Yeah, they need to temper their expectations a little bit going into this hire. They've been in a state of disarray for the past month or so, and it seemed like a job that no one wanted. So now that you have Campbell, which I think is a great hire, you got some stability. I think it's time to kind of reboot the program, like Chris said earlier, and kind of get the ball back on the track here and see how they can compete in the first couple years with Campbell, and then start putting some pressure on them then.
And Chris, and firing James Franklin in the middle of the season was ultimately the wrong move, right? I mean, it led to this. They got lucky. They lucked into Matt Campbell, but I just seemed like leaving them high and dry in the middle of the season, and your team barely getting 6 wins was just
the problem that Penn State screwed up here wasn't getting rid of James Franklin or even doing it during the middle of the season. The problem was they didn't have their hire coming in behind it. Like we had, because look, there's only one guy who does this, right? It's Jimmy Sexton. And he controls all the hires for some strange reason. We have one agent out there who controls all the hires in college football, and they didn't have a backup plan for James Franklin, knowing full well that he's a great recruiter. He's going to take all the kids with him, and they had no like now what program. Like it's like when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Like the Admiral Yamamoto said, "Okay, now what? You're going to piss off America, right? Something's going to happen." And they didn't have a plan. That's the problem with this whole thing.
And John, it feels
Mitch,
like
I think.
Yes.
Hey, Mitch. I think the hiring of the week is Pat Fitzgerald at Michigan State.
Great hire.
I do too. And did you sell the money?
Look for Sparty to do things in the next several years.
Did you see the money that the guy who CEO of Acrisure came in with? $400 million for the program. $400 million.
You put that into the stadium in Pittsburgh. What are we doing here?
We're subsidizing it. Don't start with me on this. I took my daughter and future son-in-law to the game. And she's like, "Dad, why don't they call it Heinz Field anymore?" I almost threw up. I'm like, "Don't worry, we don't eat ketchup anymore anyway. It's garbage."
The ketchup bottles is not there. It's not. Well, they have one ketchup bottle there. Heinz still has a piece of the stadium.
Garbage.
John, we brought up Lane Kiffin and doing it the wrong way, leaving his program high and dry. Matt Campbell, on the other hand, Penn State is obviously a better job than Iowa State. He was there for 10 years. It felt like, as opposed to the way Lane did it, Matt Campbell did it the right way, left with grace, build up a program. They got to hire the Washington State coach, who seems like a good hire, can keep that going there. But Matt Campbell seems like an overall awesome guy. He just does. I've looked and admired him from afar for years. I think it's a great hire for Penn State.
Well, he's a solid guy of great character. He cared about the community. He cared about the school, the university, the students in it. He cared about his players, his coaches. He's got that reputation, and he won a lot of games at Iowa State. It's not like your number one school you're going to pick if you want to get to the NFL in a lot of ways. But he was a very solid coach, had a great resume behind him, and he did it the right way. I mean, everybody's got should have an opportunity to move up and get more money, and that's the capitalist way, right? And to go to a bigger school like Penn State, a football powerhouse, top 10 certainly school. So I think it was a great hire for the Nittany Lions. They got a class act, somebody that really is going to fit, I think, the character of that school. And he did it the right way. He did it with class, and he, like you said, I think you said the word grace, did it with grace. These are the things you look for in leadership, because you got to remember, as you get older, it's, what you say and what you do impacts younger people around you, right? Because they're looking to follow the example of somebody in a leadership position. And when you do things the way Lane Kiffin did, I mean, what does that tell anybody on their team? It's all about me, not about it, not about the team, not about my family, not about it. It's about money and me. Money and me. That's what's going to drive me. That's what Coach did, money and me. Where the Iowa State coach did it the right way. Now he's got an opportunity, I think, to really make an impact. And Penn State is a class act. It's a good hire.
And and Campbell's only 46 years of age.
46.
So you start doing the math, and he's been coached at Iowa State for 11. He was at Toledo for 5. He was in his late 20s when he first got a head coaching job. That's unheard of.
It really is. Yeah, you're listening to the Saturday Godzilla Win Pick Show. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, joined by Vince Mayoko, John Fredericks, Logan Powell, Trent Connor, and Chris Saxman. John, you brought up getting older. You need all the help you can get. Tell all of our viewers and listeners about Healthy Cell and how that helps them.
Well, I'm live I'm live, Mitch, right now in the Sports Center of the Galaxy, which is Indianapolis, Indiana, right outside of Lucas Oil Stadium.
Nice.
On our media bus here. So people are already filing in. We're at staying at one of the hotels. It's already packed with Indiana fans. but I've been here. I think we got here very late Tuesday night, Ryan. Wednesday after very late. And so, look, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to get a good night's sleep, and we're up at 5. And the first couple of days we were here, it was 5 degrees, wind chill, -3, right? Everything is frozen. But you can't function if you don't get a good night's sleep. It's just as simple as that. You can't do it. So my whole team, we take REM sleep. That's why we're out here in Indy. We're fired up here on Saturday, got the heat going. Everything is fine. But you got to get a good night's sleep. All you have to do is go to healthycell.com/Godzilla, healthycell.com. Get your REM sleep there. You put in promo code Godzilla, get 20% off. Start getting a good night's sleep and feeling better and feeling like you take on the world like we do here in Indy. Healthycell.com, promo code REM sleep, promo code Godzilla. Get your REM sleep 20% off.
All right, now it's time to get to some picks. Oh, should I talk about? Well, you know what? We had a couple games last night. Well, let's go real quick. Last night, JMU, they win. Tulane wins. Looks like Tulane is now in the college playoff, and JMU needs Duke to beat UVA. I think I have that correct. Vince, what did you take? Before the show came on, we were talking a little bit about the games last night. What's your take on the games, and then we'll get into the ones this week.
Yeah, bounced around and watched a little bit of the Tulane North Texas game, JMU. Even watched a little Mountain West championship game last night as well too. You know what? Even though Tulane is ranked 20 right now and JMU's 25, you can't tell me that Tulane's a better team than JMU. I think they're both deserving. I really do. Now, obviously, in a 16-team format, I think probably both are in. I think that's fair to assume. But unfortunately, it looks like, ironically, and I don't see this happening, by the way, but if Duke were to beat Virginia, then it's possible that the ACC could be left high and dry. And if that's the case, then JMU would slide into that spot. But it's ironic. I mean, my goodness. I mean, this is how bad some of these tiebreakers are in these conferences. You look at Virginia wins the regular season with 1 loss, and then you had 6 or 7 teams with 2 losses tied for second. Now, when you get into multiple ties like that, why wouldn't you elevate your top-ranked team to play Virginia in the ACC title game and guarantee that you might get 1 and who knows, maybe 2? Miami and Virginia should be playing each other today.
They should. Logan, do you? And if you're and I have a lot of JMU alums around us, around where John normally is in DC. Would they snub Miami again after they screwed Miami a couple years ago when they lost? Do you think they would leave them out again, or does JMU have a legit shot if Duke beats UVA?
I don't know. I think that the selection committee has shown that they don't really like the Sun Belt that much. Evident in their. I mean, James Madison, they've only lost 1 game. 2 scores to Louisville. They lost by 14 points. Louisville's 8-4, very good team, and they're getting punished with that. Tulane has 2 losses, and I feel like if you have 2 losses as a Power 5, I don't think you belong in. I'm sorry. I know that's a short leash, but you're outside the Power 4. You either got to be undefeated or 1 loss. Now I know Tulane's other loss I think it's to Ole Miss. I think something like that where they got blown out, but. I don't know. I think in terms of who's the better team, Tulane or James Madison, I don't know. I might go James Madison, but I think Tulane will sneak in, and I'm still in the bandwagon of if worst comes to worst for the ACC and they have no teams in, I think they'll just add another SEC school. I mean, why wouldn't they? So I think you might look at a Vanderbilt or Texas sliding, or if Alabama loses. Georgia, maybe Alabama slides in there again. So
3-loss Alabama team,
or all freaking hell breaks loose and they let Notre Dame in for no damn reason.
All right,
Notre Dame does not deserve whatsoever.
You know what? It's already 9:40. We're gonna do some picks. Let's get to these Saturday games. We'll do some picks.
If I can, real quick on James Madison. There's a balancing act between all of this, and it's Washington State. Ole Miss, UVA, and JMU all played Washington State this year. and they all played to almost identical scores. Ole Miss 24-21 over Wazoo, UVA 22-20 over Wazoo, and James Madison beat the same team 24-20. James Madison is highly underrated. Highly underrated. That said, they don't belong in the tournament. Okay, this if you're going to have a 16-team league, this is where the NCAA is garbage in my estimation because they're trying to make everybody happy. Okay, you can't. You should take the top 16 teams and play a playoff. That's it. Deal with it.
At least, hey, you know what? The 16 is making it fun because I'm actually going to watch the ACC that's featuring UVA and Duke and actually root for something.
Well, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Rooting for Duke is a mortal sin, not a venial sin, a mortal sin.
I mean, Saxman, like, who determines who's top 16? That is totally arbitrary. That's a bunch of guys get in a room and decide somebody's 16.
Don't give it to a conference that doesn't belong there in the first place.
It doesn't matter. You know, you're in a conference. Your objective is to win the conference, right? So anybody that plays college,
they should blow up the conferences.
But your objective, well, it's to win the conference. I mean, Miami is not playing Virginia because in the eastern part of the conference, that was the winner was the Duke Blue Devils. I mean, you play to win games. They won their division of the conference. They deserve to be in the ACC game.
We're arguing two different things, John.
You guys are talking about Miami. Miami's got.
I didn't mention Miami.
Losses. Well, somebody did. They got 2 losses.
16, right? Yep.
Out, and you know, even to call ACC a power for college conference is like ridiculous, but they are. Those are the rules. You play by the rules. You don't arbitrarily just pick 16 teams because you're pissed off at Duke. Makes no sense. Win the game and get in the playoffs and see what happens.
I don't disagree. It shouldn't be based on conferences. It should be based on what the best teams are. That's it.
Well, then why have conferences then?
I don't think they should for college football and basketball.
Money.
They might not. That's what they're trying to do. Those big.
I mean, you got to have conferences. I mean, conference play is everything. Like,
no, it's not. It's garbage.
Yes, it is. Like when you start conference play, your season, you got. Everybody cares. You got to win the conference.
Garbage. They could
need to rename them.
Let's not even have NL and AL. Let's not have divisions. Let's just have.
Well, because you got rid of the designated hitter. What's the difference between AL and NL? That's old school, man. It's just backwards.
You're like, where'd you get that off of AI? Come on, man.
What the hell are you talking about?
Chat GPT.
I am AI.
Man, get control of your show.
I'm controlling this. All right. Hey, let's go to one of Chris's favorite
Reds, and Redskins.
Let's go to the MAC championship to start off our picks today. Miami of Ohio at Western Michigan. Western Michigan favored by 1.5. It opened at 3, so it's been going down a little bit. That is at Ford Field in Detroit. Coach Vince, bring some sanity back to this show, please.
Well, maybe I won't because you have a 7-5 Miami of Ohio team, and you have an Ohio University that I believe is 8-4, and I know our West Virginia people here will attest that they thought that Ohio U was one of the better non-conference teams they saw.
The best in the world.
And they were tied. Them and Miami actually tied for second place in the MAC. And how they took Miami of Ohio over Ohio U is beyond me. But anyhow, with that said, Western Michigan, a 1.5 point favorite. We'll take the Broncos in this one.
All right, Logan, where are you going to go with this one? Big fun betting day today.
Yeah, you take it based off the shared losses. I'm pretty sure Ohio lost to a team that Western Michigan beat, but I think overall, I think Western Michigan's the better team. But this is gonna be a good game, not a game that everyone's gonna have circled on their radar, but it's gonna be a good contested matchup. I like Western Michigan as well in this game. I think Miami Ohio is just won't have enough to get it done.
Yeah, my TV's probably going to be watching BYU, Texas Tech, but in the background, Miami. Trent, what are you thinking here? Miami, Ohio, Western Michigan on at noon. One of the first games that come on today.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Miami opened up at +3, but Western Michigan's been getting a lot of steam on the money line. They got 75% of the bets, 80% of the money. The money line opened at +125 for Miami. Now it's down to +115. Even though the other side's getting a lot of action. I like Miami to win this game outright.
Oh, I like it outright. Chris, where are you going with this one? You're not even going to watch. It's a MAC. Are you even watching it?
God, no. I'll still put 20 on it just for giggles. Just to feel like I'm
1-800 gambler
breathing today. No, Like, hell. Oh, you stare blankly at the screen. I really care about Western Michigan Broncos versus whatever they are, Miami. Look, Miami beat Western Michigan about a month and a half ago by 9. So it probably would be wise if you're betting to take the team that just beat the team. But why not? Let's just go with Western Michigan in the big upset, and that'll make my weekend.
All right, John, where are you going to go?
Oh, I can't wait for 12 o'clock to come. We're putting the game on right here in the bus, baby. I love my Bobcats. They're going to win this game outright. And they're one of the most underrated teams in outside of the Power Four. I love that conference. It's a very competitive conference, and the Bobcats are for real. They got a defense. I love my Miami of Ohio here, big time.
All right, moving on to the
5. They're for real.
Miami of Ohio is not the Bobcats. That's Ohio U, but who's counting?
So what? Bobcats, whatever. I still like Miami of Ohio.
There you go. I like
the Red Hawks.
What is their team name?
What are they, the Red Hawks? What they use?
The Red.
Well, the Red Hawks.
Yeah, the Red Hawks.
That's right.
Yeah, and they're the original Miami, right? They were first. They take a lot of pride.
This is Big Ben alumni.
They take a lot of pride in that. All right, the Big 12 championship.
Can you identify yourself by your name and then the state? Come on, what are we talking about?
That's true. That's true. All right, number 11 BYU is taking on number 4 Texas Tech. That is also on at noon today. Texas Tech is heavily favored by 12.5. Logan, I'll start. This is two very familiar teams. West Virginia played and lost to them both pretty badly. What do you think?
Yeah, don't overthink this matchup. They've already played each other, and Texas Tech won 29-7. More experience, quarterback, better defense. BYU has some really growing over there. You know, Bachmeier is an amazing quarterback. I think he'll be a future stud in the making. Shiitake, great coach, but Grant McCasland over at Texas Tech is just really the program he's built is really good. I think it's going to be able to withstand the college football playoff. A lot of times these high octane offenses, Big 12 kind of get overlooked in terms of the college football playoff. Not this year. I think Texas Tech has a real shot to do something, and I don't think we're going to be stopped by BYU today.
Trent, BYU is trying to somehow sneak into the playoffs with a decisive victory over Texas Tech. That could happen. Any chance for that?
No, I don't see it happening. BYU's offense kind of built on their rushing attack. They like moving the ball on the ground with their quarterback Bachmeier, and Texas Tech has the best rushing defense in the nation. Their defense is stifling when it comes to their front seven, and I think that's the difference. It was the difference in the first game. I think it'll be the difference in this game. I think Texas Tech handedly wins this game.
Yeah, Chris, there was only one time BYU did not score 24 points, and that was in its matchup against Texas Tech. Any chance they can have a chance at noon today?
Yeah, I'm sure there's always a chance. What the probably the most underreported story is how underrated T-Tech really is. This is a great football team who could do some damage in the playoffs, and they're going to roll today because they know it. They have got to get geared up for the playoffs, and I think they're just going to punish BYU.
Oh, man, Vince, I think Chris made a new term, T-Tech.
T-Tech. I've never heard that before. I like it.
Roll over
BYU. Been hanging out in the Big 12.
There we go.
Hanging out.
There we go.
Do you think T-Tech rolls over BYU? I was going to try.
Do I think the Red Raiders win? Yes, but I think in this game right here, if Texas Tech were to lose, they're still in.
Yes.
They're still going to be in the playoffs. It's do or die for BYU. So with that thought, I think BYU keeps it close because they have to. They have to win. Even a moral victory and a loss, BYU's not getting in. Their only way to get in is to win. And because of that, I think they keep it within the 12.5.
I like that. John, one thing that makes me mad about the current setup is we have conference championship games that mean nothing. Alabama loses, they're probably in. And if Texas Tech loses, they're probably in. So whatever. It's a pet peeve of mine. Should there be more importance on these conference championships, and where do you think this one's going to go?
I mean, I think if you lose your conference championship, you ought to be bounced out. Otherwise, it's not meaningful. I mean, you should get bounced out. Either we're going to do this the right way or we're going to do it hodgepodge. And right now, It's hodgepodge. Based on that, I love BYU in this game. Everybody and their brother is betting Texas Tech for their and they are, like Chris said, one of the best teams in college football. But when you don't have to win a game and you're playing a team whose backs are against the wall, it's win or pack your crap up and go home. I mean, they got something to play for today. And BYU is not going to get steamrolled again. I think this is going to be a competitive game. I'm going to take the dog and the Mormons.
You're listening to the Godzilla Wins Saturday Pick Show. John is in his, I don't know, what is that?
Trump bus.
The Trump bus. And you know what? One of the coolest products that we have around here that can save lives is one provided by the Wellness Company. I'm sure you have that on your Trump bus right now. Tell all of our viewers and listeners about the
we don't leave anywhere without our medical emergency kit from the Wellness Company. You know, Chris Saxman said something a couple of weeks ago, and I agree with him. He said, you know, I'm going to buy an emergency kit for Christmas for all my adult children because they'll never buy it themselves, but you don't need it until you need it. And Ann and I swear by the Wellness Company's medical emergency kit. We've used it multiple times. We're here on the bus. If one of us gets sick or something happens, I mean, how the hell are you going to get to a doctor in the middle of Indianapolis in the middle of a football matchup? You just can't. You can't go anywhere. And if you try to go to an emergency room, I don't want to get political here, but there's a 4-hour wait and they take all the illegals. It is what it is. I mean, this is just a reality. So to stop that, get your emergency medical kit. If you get sick, it'll nip it in the bus. Got ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, whole bit, Z-Pack. All you got to do is go to twc.health/Godzilla, twc.health/Godzilla. You're going to get 10% off. Great Christmas present, Chris, for your adult children. Brilliantly done, Saxman.
I'm just looking at the list of what's inside of it. This is impressive. Amoxicillin, azithromycin. These are real over-the-counter medications that you need.
And you don't have to go to CVS. You don't have to go. Yeah. And these are all prescriptions. So you got to get online and answer questions with their doctor. But then when you get that, it comes with a guide book. And like there were 2 times Ann and I were traveling. I don't know how this happened. Both times she got COVID the first day, but she was over in a day and a half because she had everything in there. She was able to take the antibiotics, the Z-Pack, ivermectin, the whole bit. Boom, gone. She's back on her feet. So we swear by it.
And I got 10 and 7-year-old daughters. There's a lot of
real meds. This isn't like cough drops. This is serious stuff.
That's it was just like some Robitussin in a bag, but this sounds
it's fantastic. Look at it. I mean, go to the website and look at the listing of the meds in there. That's fantastic. Good stuff.
All right, the Wellness Company. All right, we're moving on. We got 3 more games and we got to get them in like 9 minutes. All right, we talked about this a little bit so we can be a little bit quicker. We have Duke at Virginia. UVA needs to win this game to stay in the playoff, to have an ACC representative. Coach Vince, the line UVA is favored by 4. Where are you going to go with this game?
Yeah, Virginia's going to steamroll the Blue Devils today. And I want to go back to what I said 30 minutes ago. The ACC has to figure things out. Believe it or not, I think the Mountain West might have the best tiebreaker. They had a multiple, I think 4 or 5 teams that tied for the Mountain West title, and they went to computer rankings and they came up with UNLV and Boise State as their top 2 teams. In a situation like this, why wouldn't the ACC do something similar and get Miami in the title game with Virginia the way it should be?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. Logan, do you think UVA rolls here like Coach Vince thinks?
Yep, don't overthink it again. They've already played, and UVA won by 17 even after Chandler Morris threw 2 interceptions. So I think Virginia's got it pretty easily. They got a lot to fight for. They know if they win, they're in the college football playoff most likely. So, yeah, give me the Cavaliers.
Viewers and listeners, if Logan says don't overthink it and bet what he says right there. Trent, where are you going?
Yeah, I like Virginia to win and cover in this game. I mean, like they've already played less than a month ago. I think they're very familiar with each other. I think Virginia rolls here.
Chris, we're from Virginia. I feel like UVA, this is their last ride because you got James Franklin and Virginia Tech. They're never going to be in this spot again, I don't think. UVA, do you think they take advantage in their last time ever going for an ACC title?
shut your whore mouth. Okay. UVA is going to be rolling for years with Tony Elliott. He's a great coach. He's doing great recruiting. I can't believe I'm actually having a conversation about UVA football in December in a positive fashion. Usually we're getting ready to slit our wrist or jump off a building.
We're on a national show. We're not even on a Virginia show.
I know it's absolutely crazy that Virginia could be this close, but Tony Elliott is a different coach. It's sort of like when Kurt Signetti, when he was at Penn State, and they said, this team has never won in this stadium. He said this team has never played in this stadium, and I think Tony Elliott just brings a different mentality to Virginia. I think they cover this game and win. The fact that they're even being discussed for the college football playoff is just mind blowing to me.
It is. John, you think UVA rolls here as well?
Play the 4 blowout.
Blowout. All right, let's move. We got 2 awesome games coming up. The SEC championship is Georgia, Alabama. Feels like it's that every year. Georgia is favored by 2.5. I know when I said if Alabama wins or loses, they're probably in. Logan was shaking his head. Logan, where do you think this is going to go? Do you think Alabama gets in if they lose?
Definitely not. I think they absolutely need to win this game. They already have a couple losses to their resume. They've already beaten Georgia, but it was a very close game. I think that this is going to be Georgia's game to win. I think that they're better prepared. I think they're the better team overall. Give me the Bulldogs.
Trent, we're going to go with this classic matchup.
Yeah, I think Bama is going to beat Georgia through the air in this game. Georgia's weakness on defense is their secondary, and I think Ty Simpson, he didn't put up a lot of yards last week, but he threw 3 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. I think he has a good day today, and I think Alabama wins and covers.
Chris, where are you going to go with this one?
Dogs.
Ooh, dogs. Coach Vince, where are we going? Roll Tide?
I'd like to say that, but man, it's tough to beat a team twice in the same season. And here we're looking at this one right here. You're telling me that to beat a team twice in the season, you have to be superior to your opposition. And these are 2 evenly balanced teams. I think Georgia wins this one.
John, you going with the same mentality?
This is my best bet of the college football year. Right here. The year. My single best bet. I love Georgia in this game. I think it's -2.5. I'm even going to lay the 2.5. I'm not going to bet the money line and go up to 125 or something. I'm going to lay this 2.5. 2 things. It is very hard, like Vince said, to beat a team 2 times that are evenly matched. That's number 1. Number 2, here's the thing. Alabama is overrated in so many areas. Mm-hmm. You watched that Auburn game last week. Auburn should have beaten them. All right, there was a couple games here Alabama got very lucky in. This is not going to happen again. And I'll tell you the other thing. The Georgia coach is so his adjustments he makes in the 4th quarter are unbelievable. This is Kirby Smart. So I love the dogs here in this game. I think they win it, and I don't think it's going to be competitive. That's what I believe. I think I'm going to be in the 4th quarter. I'm going to be having a nice drink.
I'll be texting you.
A nice Grey Goose and ice, counting my money.
No way. Roll. Now, Bama, you don't take anything from the Auburn game. If you watch Bama and Auburn, you don't take anything from that rivalry game. Auburn
should have won that game.
I agree. I agree. Could have, should have, would have.
They lost to Oklahoma. They should have lost to South Carolina.
Didn't. All right, we got the first time in history a conference championship game features the number 1 and number 2 teams in the nation. Indiana at Ohio State. Ohio State is favored by 4. This is going to be one hell of a game. Coach Vince, where are you going to go with this?
Boy, this is the one. I think when Indiana took down Oregon 2 months ago, it was like, wow. You start looking at the schedule going, there could be a collision course coming early December, 2 undefeated teams, and voila, here we are. There's something about Indiana. There really is. I have a feeling. And trust me, playing the game in Indianapolis is not going to hurt them at all either. So I think take the Hoosiers today.
Yeah, it's something, Logan. The only people rooting for Ohio State are Ohio State alumni and fans. I feel like the entire nation is on Indiana. Are you with them as well?
Oh yeah, I love Indiana. I love Frank Kurtzinetti. I love Mendoza. I think he's probably the best quarterback in the nation. Going to be a high draft pick. Going to make some team very happy. But with that being said, Ohio State has the best group in the nation. That's their defense. That is the best side of football that anyone could offer. So I think that, with that being said, I think that defense can carry them anywhere. And then they got Julian Sayon. They got shout out West Virginia. They got C.J. Donaldson. They got so many weapons, so many pieces that I just don't see them actually. I think that they might repeat. They probably might pick to repeat. I just don't see any team beating them. Give me Ohio State.
Yeah, Trent, it's like I think Indiana could beat almost any other team, but Ohio State is a tough matchup. What do you think?
Yeah, this game is going to come down to obviously turnovers, but third downs. These two offenses are 1 and 2 in the nation on third down offense, and then their defenses are top 5. So I think whoever wins third downs wins this game, and I think that's Indiana. I love Indiana outright. I think they are the better team. They have a little bit of a home field advantage. And I also like the under in this game.
Oh, I like it. I'm up against a hard break. Chris, where are you going with this?
Well, I love the under. I love Indiana. There's no way I could ever bet money on Ohio State. That's just impossible. And I think if you have a soul, you put your money on Indiana. They might not win, but you put your money there.
That's a Yinzer speaking for you. John, where are you going?
Well, I'm going to go with Coach Vince here. I got a feeling. Look, obviously we're going to pick Indiana. I'm right outside of Lucas Oil Stadium right here. By the way, it's good to be in Indianapolis. People here are so nice all week. There is Indiana nice. It is real. So I want to thank all the people here. But here's the thing: we all know how good Ohio State is. We really don't know how good Indiana is. I have no idea. Maybe they're better than we think they are. Either way, here at home, I got to tell you, this state is hopping. This area is packed with Indiana fans. It's going to be crazy out there. We're going to be right in the parking lot. It's going to be so much fun. Can't wait for this game. And I'm going to definitely take Indiana in the 4. And actually, I'm with Trent here. I'm also going to bet him on the money line because I think they got a shot to win this game. So it's going to be a fun game. Got to take the 4 with Indiana Hoosiers.
All right, John, while you're in Indiana, the WVU boys here, I'm speaking for Trent and Logan. Could you put a banana in Coach DeVries' tailpipe while you're up there? Just do something. Just do something. I love seeing Indiana basketball losing, and everybody doesn't know if they have the right coach either. All right, that's the end of the first hour. We gave you all our college picks, all the college hot topics. In hour 2, we move on to the NFL. Lots of big games coming up tomorrow. We'll get to all that and more right here on Godzilla Wins.
West Virginia Sports Nation gives you a top-of-the-mountain view of the Mountaineers sports landscape. See what's happening in all the sports, far beyond football, basketball, and baseball. Gymnastics, track and field, rowing, swimming and diving, golf, volleyball, tennis. More sports, more stories. If the Mountaineers play the game, WVSportsNation.com has it covered. Up-to-date and insightful articles written by Mountaineers for Mountaineers Nation. WVSportsNation.com. WVSportsNation.com. WVSportsNation.com.
The best part about waking up in the morning is a great cup of coffee, and I get this every day with my 1775 coffee. It's rich, it's bold, best tasting coffee I've ever had. Single origin, farmed in Bolivia, 7,000 feet. It's always fresh, roasted daily. This is the best coffee you're ever going to get. Go to 1775coffee.com, 1775coffee.com. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off. It's going to make your day every day.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work. Try to see a doctor this week or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Order online fast and save $45. Your kit with prescriptions to treat common and life-saving illnesses is rushed to your door. Visit twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla.
John Fredericks, your Godzilla of truth, fiercely independent.
No ties to Wall Street. I promote Main Street.
The John Fredericks Media Network, privately owned and operated, on top of the issues on air and online.
Trucking the truth every day for 14 years.
The John Fredericks Show drives your morning, weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern. The only independent White House correspondent with live reports from the White House. Hit johnfredericksradio.com. Watch at jfmn.tv. John Fredericks, your Godzilla of truth.
Who's going to stop me now?
Nobody.
Did you know that somebody could literally steal your house? Yeah, that is a thing that happens. It is when a criminal forges your signature on one document, uses one fake notary stamp, and then spends about $30, $40 with the county recorder. They then take out loans using your home equity as collateral. And the worst part of it is, you don't even know it's happening until you start getting collections and foreclosure notices. Most people don't check on their home title because why would you feel like you needed to? But this right here is why you need to use Home Title Lock. They have a $1 million triple lock protection that helps keep your home and equity safe. It includes 24/7 monitoring with protection immediately, urgent alerts in case there's any changes in your title. Then if fraud does happen, they have a US-based restoration team that will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title.
Find out if you're already a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now.
John Fredericks, he's America's Godzilla of truth. All week long, he's world-renowned for his proficient proclivity to prophesy the people's political picks with pinpoint precision.
Yeah, baby.
Then on the weekends, he gets with the guys that are pretty wise, and Godzilla wins. Godzilla Wins, the sports picking show for winning dough. Money lines, parlays, over-under, the best plays. You choose the game, Godzilla picks the winners. Get expert analysis, exclusive insights, and have a little fun. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Godzilla Wins, on the screens of your TV and favorite devices, commanding radio airwaves far and wide. Before you make that play, hear what the Godzilla crew has to say. Presented by West Virginia SportsNation.com, it's time for Godzilla Wins, all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Oh yeah.
For entertainment purposes only.
Welcome back to Godzilla Wins Saturday Picks Show. First hour, we did a lot of college football. Second hour, we're going to get into some NFL picks and news and updates. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, joined by John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, and Trent Connor. I'm excited about today. Of course, the college football happening, but now it's time for the NFL. And we had a big-time matchup on Thursday night, which was essentially a playoff game for the Dallas Cowboys, who have had a resurgence that we've talked about on this show with maybe the two best offensive weapons in the game, or three of them perhaps. And Detroit, after going to the NFC Championship game last year, has been struggling just a little bit, but they got it right on Thursday night, and big time win, 44-30 over the Dallas Cowboys. We got to see the George Pickens that us Steelers fans all know and love give up on 3 or 4 plays, and now everybody's looking and going, how do you sign this guy to a multi-million-dollar contract? But was a very interesting game. And John, I mean, it seems like Coach Campbell taking over the play calling. It's a lot easier when you play against Dallas's defense, but they looked like a little resemblance of the team they were the last couple of years.
They're frauds. They're going to get bounced. Detroit, look, Dallas has no defense, right? They showed up a couple times, fine, but now they're basically done. Let's look at Pickens, right? Plays hard. Then he signs the multi-year contract. Then he starts sitting out plays again, which is why Coach Mike in Pittsburgh got him out of that locker room, right? That's why I got him out of there. Now it's back to the same thing. This Dallas is a very troubled franchise. And when you're okay with having guys like Pickens not running through plays and he can get multi-million-dollar deals, you got a sick organization, and I think it's going to hurt Dallas going forward, and now they're out.
And Coach Vince, it seems like Dallas at least has the framework, and now the Micah Parsons trade doesn't look that bad, because from a standpoint where Jerry Jones is looking at it, you don't want to pay someone that much money that doesn't impact every single game. like a quarterback. So that might not be better, but it looks like Dallas knows their blueprint. They got to bolster their defense just slightly, just a little bit, and then sign a number 2 wide receiver. But I don't know if that's Pickens or not. What's your takes from that game on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, he's just, gosh, at times you think he's a top 5 receiver, right? And then at other times, like, how's there that much of a drop off from one series to the next, or from like one game to the next? And that's definitely a concern. And obviously, you Pittsburgh Steelers fans have probably more to say than I would on that. But Dallas offensively, they're good, man. I mean, if they can dip into free agency this offseason, draft some defensive guys, you could see them, because I think the Eagles are vulnerable right now. So you look at the NFC East looking into the future in the next several years, it's a winnable division with any 4 of those teams in the NFC West or NFC East. So there's hope there. But I tell you, Detroit, they've got a great 2-headed monster in the backfield, do they not?
Yeah.
I mean, their running back tandem is as good as I've seen for years.
For sure.
And they're legit. They're legit offensively anyway.
Yeah, Trent, it's kind of, I mean, when John calls the Detroit a fraud, when you have Amon St. Brown and you have Jahmyr Gibbs and Jared Goff playing at an exceptional level, I don't think they're fraudulent, but that's just my opinion. What are your takes from the Thursday night game?
Yeah, I think the step Jameson Williams has made in the last few weeks is a big step for that offense. He looks like a number 1 receiver on several teams in the NFL. The defense has some holes in it, I think. I mean, Dallas's offense is very good. They didn't let them score in the first half, but you got to play a complete game when you play a better team, and I don't think they did. And another thing I just wanted to touch on was the Brandon Aubrey for the Dallas Cowboys. He's automatic from 50 plus. He made a 63-yarder in this game. I think he deserves some credit, and he's on the final year of his rookie contract. I think Dallas might have to think about paying him.
Aubrey is by far. Well, he might be this. Is he better than Boswell? I think he is probably better than Boswell. Chris, what are your takes from the Thursday?
Yeah, they're probably going to franchise tag that guy. Can you imagine a kick getting franchised? But to me, he's your leading scorer, and he gives you a threat. He makes you. If you get to the 40, you're in points territory. That changes the whole dynamic of the game. Look, Dallas just has. I don't know. Their organization, their franchise just does not have. It's like a lot of the Steelers right now. They just don't have an identity, in my estimation. They got a lot of talent. I mean, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Pickens. Pickens is a head case. Let's just call it for what it is. The guy's a head case, and that permeates a locker room. But again, a lot of these guys are just head cases because they're getting paid a lot of money. They're still quite young. They're not very mature, and this is the pressure of the NFL. And do I care? No, they're getting paid. That's the game. I love Detroit. I just love the way the franchise is going. I love the coach, and I'm real excited about their future. But I thought they had a better year this year, and they have a tough schedule to close out with the Rams, Steelers, and the Bears. So they could lose 3 of those.
Yeah, and that NFC North is no joke, with Chicago Bears leading the way and Green Bay may be the best team in the division, and then Detroit trying to get into the playoffs. The NFC is it's those 49ers, it's those pesky 49ers on that wild card that people are trying to knock out of there. We'll get to them a little bit later. Let's get to some picks. Our first one on the docket is the 9-3 Seattle Seahawks at Atlanta. Seattle is favored by 7 points. Seattle has had a remarkable season by all measures. Atlanta's had an Atlanta season. Feels just the same every year. Start with Penix. Now you've got Cousins in. Trent, I'll let you start with this one. Heavily favored Seattle Seahawks. Where are you rolling today?
Yeah, the Seahawks stop the run really well, and Atlanta's key offensive player is Bijan Robinson. They need him to be able to run the ball well to open up that offense for Kirk Cousins, and I don't think they can do that this game. I like Seattle to cover this spread.
Yeah, we bring up franchise tags. Well, Atlanta has the guy that's been franchised more than anyone in history with Kirk Cousins. Where are you going today? Seattle favored by 7, Chris.
Seattle lay the 7.
Seattle laying the 7. Coach Vince, I'm thinking the same thing. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's tough to go against that, but boy, that's a lot of points to lay on the road, though, isn't it? Even though it is, they're playing the Falcons, they're still an NFL team. But I think Seattle, all of a sudden Seattle's back in first place, right? First place tie with the Rams getting beat last week. So the NFC West is definitely an interesting division right now. So take the Seahawks in this one.
Yeah, NFC West, NFC North are outstanding so far. Seattle is getting everyone's play so far. John, where are you going?
Well, you know, in the words of Ben Franklin, a fool and his money are soon parted. So last week, after coming on the show for 15 weeks straight and saying you just can't bet Atlanta. So what do I do last week? I bet Atlanta over the Jets, right? Early game. And that was, one of my best bets of the day. And of course, they lose to the New York Jets, who probably have the second worst team in the history of the NFL, only behind mine. So listen, you just can't bet Atlanta. I mean, I bet them one time this season, got my head handed to me, as they say. So I'm going to lay the 7 here. Atlanta's just you just can't bet this team. So forget about it. Hawks -7.
Yeah, and they don't really have much of a home field advantage, especially when they're not winning. That stadium is kind of fair weather when you go down there. All right, one of the most interesting matchups on the docket are the Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills. Cincinnati, all of a sudden, Joe Burrow coming back for the love of the game, for the fans. He does it the right way. He's a rival of the Steelers, so I don't necessarily like the team, but I really am starting to like him and just like what he stands for. And what they stand for is a chance to make the playoffs. With the Ravens and the Steelers basically not knowing what is going on with their franchises right now, but they're in first place. The Bengals have an outside shot similar to what Dallas was facing coming in right now, but it starts this week. It starts with the Buffalo Bills team that handily defeated the Steelers last week, and they're trying to get on the right side of things as they were struggling the last few weeks as well. Trent, I'll start with you here. This is one of the matchups that I have circled. I am looking forward to seeing this game. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, both teams have a lot to play for here, and I'm seeing a lot of money coming in on Cincinnati, surprisingly, on the spread. So I don't think they can stop the Bills' rushing attack. The Bills put a hat on a hat last week and ran it down the Steelers' throats. I think they do it again this week, and they take control of this game from the jump, and I don't think it's close. Bills cover easily.
Yeah, Chris, on another show, we talked all about the 29 straight same running play, or 29 running plays that they did against the Steelers. But the Bengals defensive line is awful, worse than the Steelers probably. So I would imagine what Trent said comes true, and they run the ball a lot here. Where are you going to go with this?
Well, I think Baltimore might disagree with you on the Cincinnati Bengals run defense.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Look, the fact that I'm even going to say this makes me want to go throw up. But I'm taking
get on the bandwagon, baby. Let's go.
I'm taking the Bengals to win money line plus 220.
Nice money line plus 220. I love this.
Get on it, baby. Let's go.
This is the upset of the week. As bad as the Steelers were last week, let's not forget the Buffalo Bills had 3 points at halftime before the 2 turnovers in the third quarter.
True.
Thank you.
Buffalo Bills did not play well. I don't think they are a good team right now. They don't have much of a passing attack. And frankly, Bengals are dangerous because they have nothing to lose. I like Cincinnati in this one.
Coach Vince, something feels like something's off with Josh right now too at quarterback for Buffalo. Like it's like they need to rely on the running game. If the Bengals could stop the running game, do they have a chance here? Where are you going with this?
I think Cincinnati has a great chance. The thing with Buffalo, and they're, if they don't make the playoffs, that'll be a shocker. But they haven't been the consistent Buffalo Bills team that we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years. Buffalo will go on a 6-7 game winning streak, and shoot, it's like they win a couple, and you start thinking, okay, here they go, and then they'll lose a game. And they just haven't really gotten in that frame of mind this season where they'll reel off 3, 4, 5 wins in a row. With that said, Cincinnati's trending upward. You mentioned before, Mitch, that they have a shot at making the playoffs. So I think by being a road dog, I think Cincinnati has a shot here.
John, where are you going to go with this one?
Saxomania, baby. He's all over it. I love the fact that Sax is picking another team in his division. I love that. I think that's kind of fun. Hey, by the way, speaking of Saxman, they have this new show called Renegade Rant. It's about the Steelers. I just listened to it, Sax, last night. I was laughing my tail up. You can find it on our YouTube channel. It airs, I think, on Wednesday at 12:30 on some of our stations in Pittsburgh and West Virginia. But you can find it on YouTube. just go to our YouTube channel, put in YouTube John Fredericks Media, and put in Renegade Rant. It'll come right up. You're going to laugh. They break down the Steelers. It is hilarious. And so you don't want to miss that Renegade Rant. Having said that, look, America is looking for leaders, right? It's a soulless country where everybody's looking for a leader, right? You saw one in the coach with Iowa State and the way he did his deal with Penn State. Look at Joey Burrow. They can't make the playoffs. They're out of it. The guy's hurt. You know how easy it would have been for him to just sit out saying, look, I got to get ready for 2026. I don't want to risk further energy. Guy comes back and he says, hey, fans bought season tickets. They deserve for us to put a product on the field. Hear that, Amy? A product on the field, Amy. Get on my face, right? So I love Burrow in this game. They got nothing to lose. Nothing. Zero. I think they play inspired football down this stretch. They're the team to watch. I think they go in there, win the whole game.
I think Coach Vince nailed it on the head. Buffalo has this propensity to get some wins in a row. I think it starts here. They beat the Steelers. They beat the Bengals handily. End this Bengals run. I'm with it. I like Joe Burrow, but I want them on the outside looking in, and they can be fun with no chance for the playoffs, which will happen after Buffalo stomps them today. All right, real quick. This is quick. Yeah.
Back it up. Here's the remaining schedule for the Cincinnati Bengals. And believe me, I hate the Bengals. Look, Buffalo, we say they're gonna win today. Then they go to Ravens at Cincinnati. Then they go Miami, Arizona, Cleveland. You don't think they can get to 9-8. They can get to 9-8.
Bungles.
Arizona's playing okay though. Yeah, and they'll split with the Ravens. Yeah. No, they need to lose today.
They're not playing for nothing. They have a chance.
Oh, I know. I'm scared.
It sickens me, but they have a chance.
Yeah, they have a chance, and the Steelers could be knocked out. All right, real quick. This is
Moving
because I'm running behind. Tennessee at Cleveland. Cleveland by 4.5. No one cares about this game. I'll let Trent go first.
Come on.
Yeah, this is the lowest total I think I've seen all season, 33.5. When I see a low total, I like betting the under, so I like the under in this game.
Oh, the under. That's unbearable. That'll be the worst watch ever. Chris, what are you doing?
13-3, the Browns over the Titans.
Another under. Coach Vince.
Can we dub this the toilet bowl?
We can.
Okay, with that said,
Titan Browns.
Titan Browns defense is far superior, so we'll take the Browns in this one.
John?
Oh, stop. Cleveland.
No, with Shador? Should say you got the Shador.
I don't care if Chris Saxman was quarterback in the Browns. I bet the Browns tomorrow. I mean, the Titans do not have a legitimate product they're putting on the field. Whatever veterans they have, they've traded away. They got some good young players. They're playing for 26. They're going to get the first round pick again. They're going to pick that linebacker out of Ohio State. They've got a chance in the future to put something together. This season, this is one of the worst products an NFL franchise has ever put on the field, save Jeffrey Simmons and Cam Ward. It's going to be a clown show.
John, it's going to be so awesome when we're doing our remote broadcast from Pittsburgh when they announce the number one pick. We can watch it all together because I'm definitely going to Pittsburgh for the draft because it's there.
Oh, you got to. It's going to be fun, and we're going to pick that linebacker. Either linebacker from Ohio State, there's a defensive end, but they can't trade their number one pick away again. They can't do it again. They got to take a beast on deep. I take one of those big defensive ends that team them up with Jeffrey Simmons, and then maybe you got something. Maybe instead of winning one game, you win 5. You got some hope. We'll see what happens. They'll screw it up, I'm sure.
We're going to take the bus up to Pittsburgh in May. I cannot wait. All right.
Yeah.
Next game. Oh, and Jaden Daniels, for the Washington Commanders, he's coming back as well. And I do believe similar to a Joe Burrow situation, but Jaden is so young. He needs reps. So he's coming back. He's playing against the Minnesota Vikings today. Minnesota is favored by 1.5. The Commanders offense kind of looked pretty efficient with Marcus Mariota. So I would expect them to be able to score some points in this game. Coach Vince, we'll start with you on this one. Where are you leaning?
Yeah, I thought Washington battled hard was it Sunday night when they played the Broncos, and the Broncos are obviously they're a Super Bowl contender from the AFC. So I think they showed a lot, and having Jaden Daniels come back, I think they get a little bit of an added boost there. So I think Washington's a good pick in this one.
I'm going to go clockwise. Chris, where are you going with this?
I really like the Commanders here. I remember early in the season, my preseason pick was Vikings at 6-11, and they are tracking for that. Told everyone McCarthy was going to flatline. You heard it here first. And I love the fact that the Commanders have nothing to lose and Daniels is back. I think the Vikings are mailing it in.
Trent, where are you going here? Seems like the line's kind of stayed put the whole week.
Yeah, I like the Commanders in this matchup. Daniels obviously back is a big storyline, but Terry McLaurin coming back last week and having a huge game, getting 14 targets in his first game back. I think that means a lot for this offense. Having someone that can stretch the field, just having a playmaker outside of Debo and Ertz. I think McLaurin has another big game, and I think the Commanders cover the spread.
And John, you're in the DC area. I do truly believe that Coach Quinn has them playing for something, and that's next year and the future. And that's why Jaden's coming back so they can end this season on a good note. What are you thinking?
I only got 3 words: rent, rats, and Redskins. I'm going with the Redskins.
There we go. We're going with the.
How'd I do, Chris? Is that better?
You're on message, Chief.
Rent, rats, and Redskins, baby. That's it.
Rats, Redskins.
All right, I'm going to go with the Commanders.
Wait. You want me to put rats first?
Oh yeah, your first order of business is taking care of the rats.
Rats, rent, Redskins. Got it.
That's right.
We're going to make them a state. You guys want to be a state?
No.
I know. All right. So
no taxation without representation. No federal income tax in Washington D.C. Yep. Rats, rents, Redskins.
All right, moving on to another game that doesn't Miami at New York Jets. Miami has actually had a resurgence of late. They haven't totally given up, and they are still in the playoff hunt. New York Jets are the Jets. Miami is favored only by 2.5, and over under is 41.5. Trent, where are you leaning on this one?
Yeah, I like Miami in this game. I think Devon Achane has a big game. I think his speed is going to be too much for the Jets to handle. He's going to get on the outside, and I like him to score a touchdown today or tomorrow. I think that's a good bet, and I would bet the Dolphins on the money line, but don't love it.
Chris, thought the Miami Dolphins were going to implode after week 3 or week 4. They've actually somehow maintained it, kept it together, and actually have looked pretty decent on offense and defense. Where are you going with this one?
Well, let's look at their schedule. They've not played anyone worth a damn in the last 6 weeks except for the Bills. Maybe the Ravens smoked them, but they're a mediocre team that play below mediocre teams better, and this is what's going to happen today. I mean, Miami is just a better football team only because the Jets just suck.
Yeah, Coach Vince, I thought the spread would be a little bit higher on this one. Where are you leaning?
Yeah, I'm going Miami here, and I agree. You go back a month and a half where we thought that the head coach of Miami would be fired by now, and all of a sudden they've reeled off some wins, and they, outside shot, but they still have a possibility of making the playoffs. So the game means a lot more to Miami and the coaching staff with the Dolphins than it does the Jets at this point in time. So take the Dolphins.
They're trying to get your number 1 pick over in New York. John, what's going to happen here?
I got 2 words. MAGA Mandami. I'm going with the Dolphins all the way. Hey, they actually got a shot to make the playoffs. I love the fish here. Win big. And the Jets. They won a game. Yay. They're out of the hunt for the number 1 pick. Yay. Cost me money. Yay. Let's go fish.
Well, if you're in the DC area and you're trying to get out of the rats and go south a little bit, there is a great place just south, Rosie's. Tell everybody, John, about Rosie's Gaming.
I wish I was at Rosie's today instead of this in the freezing weather. What's the weather here, Ryan? Like 10 degrees, 20 degrees or something? Freeze my ass. Snow flurries now outside. It's rainy and misty. I wish I was going to Rosie's because they got them all over Virginia and it's warm there. Plus, you have fun. It is the most fun thing you could possibly do, because you're going to win money, have fun. The food is great. The atmosphere is great. If you like to gamble, it's just a great way to go. Go to Rosie's in Virginia. Because, look, I go to the casinos all the time, but you know how they are, right? Everybody smokes. They pump oxygen in, right? I mean, there's no windows. You go to Rosie's, it's quite different the way Nate Mize has set this up. Food is great. Atmosphere is great. They're not pumping in oxygen. You actually see the sun, right? Great place. All you got to do is go to rosiegaming.com. They're all over Virginia. They have the lowest state takeout, so the biggest jackpots and the most wins, more money for their players. Go to rosiesgaming.com. win money, have fun.
All right, you're listening to the Godzilla Wins Saturday Pick Show. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, joined by John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, Trent Connor, and Chris Saxman. We are doing the NFL picks. We're about halfway through the docket. Next one up is Indianapolis at Jacksonville. And whoa, what a difference a few games makes for these Colts. A few weeks ago, they were the number one team, but now it looks like if you shut down their running game, they don't have a chance. Danny Dimes has come back to earth. Jacksonville just feels like Jacksonville, the same team, the same damn team every single year. They're kind of floating around in the playoff hunt. See how they do. Trent, I will start with you on this one. This Colts team, they don't seem like it anymore, do they?
No, they've regressed a little bit later in the season, which, I mean, it's to be expected. Daniel Jones is dealing with that fractured fibula, I believe. So, and this line is a bit funky to me. I initially wanted to take the Jags upon first look, and just the public is loving the Jaguars. But I'm going to roll with the public this week because I think that's the right side. I think the Jags win this game.
Oh, roll. That's not his move, Chris. He's going with the public. What are you doing here? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Coach Vince.
So the Jags have beaten in the last 2 weeks the Titans and the Cardinals, and they got well over the Chargers as well. They're a pretty good football team. I just think Indianapolis is better, especially when you're just only given 1.5 on the road here. I think Indianapolis is still a damn good football team, and they cover this.
Coach Vince, where are you going?
Yeah, I agree, Chris. I think Indianapolis, even though they've had a struggle over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I think they find a way to get a road win on Sunday. But because they're going to have to, right? Who's fast approaching the Colts right now? Houston Texans, right?
Yeah.
And boy, they're playing. Is it? I mean, we haven't gotten to Houston yet on the schedule, but boy, they're as good as anybody in the AFC right now, especially with their defense. So I like the Colts in this one.
Yeah, John, I mean, it's 2 8-4 teams right now. This is for the division, but you're right. The Texans are just sitting there lurking in the background. They could still take this division as well. This is an interesting matchup. Where are you going?
Well, I love the Colts here. I mean, I think this is like the turnaround game for their season. They have to win this game after getting beat 2 straight, being everybody's darling, right? Obviously, I'm here in Indy. There's Colts stuff all over the place. This is a game if they're going to be a serious contender, you got to go down to Jacksonville, and you got to win this game on the road. If you lose 3 in a row and now you're knocked out of first place, the season starts unraveling, and then you start to say, well, who'd they beat? Well, they beat the Titans twice. Like, who else they beat, right? Some really bad teams. So I think this is a big game for them. They have to go down to Jacksonville and win this game. So I like the Colts.
Indianapolis has lost at Jacksonville 10 times in a row. That's crazy. That's one of the weirdest stats. 2016 was the last time they won. I'm going to go with Jacksonville just based off that weird, quirky stat there. All right. I missed one. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is heavily favored, 8.5 here. This is, like I said, at Tampa Bay, over under 41.5. Chris, I will start with you on this game. New Orleans doesn't seem to have much going for them right now. Tampa playing for the division. What do you think?
Yeah, lay the 8.5. It's a mismatch, and Tampa needs it a hell of a lot more. New Orleans they're just a dog franchise right now. This is not good. Not good. I mean, Spencer Rattler is your starting quarterback. My God.
Yeah, that's not fun.
He wasn't even the top tier in the SEC.
I know. Steelers don't have. Would the Steelers take a Spencer Rattler? I don't know. Vince, Coach, where are you going to go with this?
Why would you do that?
On the surface, it's just like Tampa all the way. But gosh, I mean, Tampa has been struggling of late too.
Yeah. And
the health of Baker Mayfield. Are they a touchdown or two better than the Saints and at home? Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Bucks, but boy, very cautiously am I going with the Bucks in this one.
Trent, I mean, yeah, Tampa had been struggling. They're finally catching on, winning a couple games here. Do they keep it going this week?
Yeah, I agree with part of what Vince said there. The Bucks are not efficient on offense, and they haven't been all season. They are struggling to move the ball, and I don't think they should be more than a touchdown favorite really against anyone. So I'm going to hold my nose, bet the Saints, and be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and John, I mean, Tampa is getting healthier. Bucky Irvin's back. We had Chris Godwin come back a couple weeks ago. Baker probably getting healthier each week as well. So they're starting to round into that team that we saw at the beginning of the year. Do you think they roll here?
No, I think I'm going to take the 8.5. And I have this saying. You guys know what it is. I never bet a dog if I don't think they can win the game, regardless of what the spread is. Like I think Brigham Young can actually win this game today. That's why I'm taking the 12.5 or yesterday. But I love the Saints here. Kellen Moore, their coach, really has his team playing hard right through the final gun. I think they're going to be very competitive in this game. I wouldn't be shocked to see an upset. Nobody likes Spencer Rattler. I get that. But the team is playing hard. They're not as bad as they seem on paper. I think this is going to be a very competitive game, and I like the Saints with the 8.5. And I wouldn't be shocked if they won that game.
All right, moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. I still have my Renegade Rant background going on with all my Steelers stuff in the background. This is two teams tied for the division lead. That's all that you can say nice about them right now. They're both 6-6, but they are both reeling. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens have won 5 out of 6, but their loss last week, Lamar Jackson, something seems a little bit off there. And with the Steelers, we've talked about this ad nauseum. They don't have an identity on either side of the football. It's the worst defense they've fielded in 20 years or longer, and the offense just can't do anything. Trent, I'll let you start here. 2 6-6 teams playing for everything, though. Like the mood is sullen. Everybody is kind of given up on these two teams. They're playing for the division right now. Trent, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think this spread should be a little bit closer.
You're 5.5, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Steelers had a tale of two halves last week. They played well in the first half, and then the Bills ran the ball down their throats in the second half. And I think the public's going to be looking for Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry to run the ball down the Steelers' throats, but I don't think Mike Tomlin will let that happen. I think the Steelers have a chance to win this game because the Ravens are not the team that they used to be. Something's wrong with Lamar Jackson. He's not playing well. He's a problem for this offense. I love the Steelers.
Oh, I'm going to go to Coach Vince next. Chris, I'm going to put you on hold a little bit. I know you're ready to rant over there. Coach Vince, what are you thinking here? This is one of the best rivalries in football. They're playing for the division. Seems like everything's out there, but that's not the feeling going into this week. But that is the reality.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. They're both tied for first place. And I'm going to make a prediction here. This is week 14 of the NFL season, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
I'm saying this game right here, the winner of this game wins the AFC North.
Yeah, the way the schedules roll out, I agree. I agree.
So with that said, we are primarily in a Pittsburgh Steeler geographical location. Go Steelers.
Yeah, Coach Vince knows what to do. Chris, what are we thinking here? Is this team win the AFC?
I would rather throw my children in front of a moving subway train than bet any money on the Ravens and actually cash the ticket. There's just no freaking way I would ever do that. This is not the rivalry game of years gone by. They're not the same teams anymore. These are not teams that are competing for the AFC Championship year in, year out. They're just not. And I'm gonna have to draw back my subjectivity and become more objective I'm going to use Trent analysis here. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in the last 3 games. They are 4th in the NFL on third down conversions. Baltimore is at nearly the bottom. Okay, so when you're looking at this thing, you have to have data analytics working on your side. If you're going to place a bet here, it's for the Steelers to cover. Now, betting the money line here is stupid on the Steelers, but I'm going to do it anyway because I love the Steelers. But it's primarily due to the fact that they are far better in the last 3 games on third down conversions than the Baltimore Ravens are.
Well, John, it feels like if they keep the sheet clean by sheet clean, I mean turnovers. The Steelers game got upended last week with the 2 turnovers to start the second half. When they don't turn the ball over, the Steelers win. That's how Tomlin has done it in this post-Ben Roethlisberger era. It's frustrating, but how do you think it's going to play out this week?
All I know is you guys, any Steelers fan out there, you got to go to watch Saxman's show, Renegade Rant. It's absolutely hilarious. I can't wait. Therapy. Right? Renegade Rant. You just go to our YouTube channel, put in John Fredericks Media, put in Renegade Rant. It comes up. You got to see that. I think it airs at 12:30 on Wednesday in Pittsburgh, in our stations in Pittsburgh and West Virginia. So it's on those apps. WV the Torch, obviously, app. You can get them there or live if you're in there. But I can't wait now every week to see their rants. It's really, really good. So I have to give them a plug. Saying that, my best bet of the week, Steelers plus 5.5, baby. This is such an easy game to pick. Here's how you pick it, right? You know the Steelers are going to go 9-8. They always go 9-8. You know that they're going to kick a bunch of field goals. They always kick a bunch of field goals. So they're going to go 9-8. They're going to kick a bunch of field goals. And I'm going to cash my ticket plus 5.5 and laugh my tail off. Steelers go in there, win this game.
All right. I love it. I'm going with the Steelers as well. And I love when Chris has this nice, serene, calm background, because that's not when the Renegade rant happens. It's all fire.
You got to tune that in. You guys are so funny on that show. It's really hilarious.
I'm telling you, it's therapy. I wouldn't have. What's funny, when they have losses like that, I don't talk to anybody on Monday, but by Tuesday I need to talk it out, and Wednesday. So it's perfect for us Yinzers. And hopefully we're first place and winning the AFC North, right? After Coach Vince has called it. All right.
After that game, I hopped on the Gateway Clipper from Acrisure Stadium over to Station Square, and my daughter's still chirping at me, and I'm like, just shut the living F up. I can't. I'm freezing my ass off, and you're literally trying to talk to me, and I just want to drown this entire boat full of people. And I'm like, God, help me.
Oh, the Gateway loser clipper after I couldn't be on it after the
Wasn't
loss.
it freezing on that thing? By the way, Saxon
it was 7 degrees wind chill.
We gave him tickets. He's all excited. He kept following up. Hey, did you get the tickets? Did you get the tickets? I can't wait to get tickets. And he tells me, well, we actually left the stadium at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, because it was the smart thing to do. And on the way out, adding the injury to the insult, or the insult to the injury, however you want to term it, they played Renegade when you're down 16 points in the fourth quarter, which you don't do. It was the nerve of that franchise to play Renegade in the fourth quarter was one of the most insulting things I've ever experienced as a fan.
Oh, man, and we could go all out. I mean, and it's been national. Mike Tomlin on the hot seat. Oh, it's just a weird week in Pittsburghville. We can make it all right. All right. One Ravens victory in Baltimore, and I think it's going to happen. All right.
You forget about everything else. You just go into Baltimore, win that game, and then you're good to go.
It's like Auburn, Alabama. It's like Auburn, Alabama.
And then you're in the second season. Anything goes when you're in the playoffs. Stairway to 7, baby. Let's go. All right. Another classic rivalry game is happening. It's Denver at Las Vegas. Las Vegas has now moved around, and then it's still the Broncos Raiders. Denver is heavily favored by 7.5. They barely squeaked by the Commanders last week in overtime. That could have been their scare. Trent, I'll start with you here. Any chance for a Vegas upset? They just don't seem to have much going on right now.
No, they had their chance in the first matchup, and they couldn't pull it out. The Broncos had 6 sacks in that game. I think they hit that mark again. Nick Bonito is going to make friends with Geno Smith in the Raiders backfield, and I think the Broncos score a lot more points than they did in the first game. I think the Broncos cover. Yeah,
Chris, Geno is running for his life back there, and even when he has a good line, he's inconsistent. But when he doesn't have a good line, there's not much chance there. What are you doing with this spread of 7.5?
Oh, you gotta lay the 7.5 here for the Broncos. I mean, the Las Vegas Raiders are just a moribund franchise. I mean, they're just horrible. I mean, you lost to the Cleveland Browns by 14 at home. Come on, you think the Broncos can't cover? What is it, 7.5? My God, take the mortgage out. No, don't do that. I didn't say that on the radio, but you can bet heavy here.
Coach Vince, you betting your mortgage?
No. But I will say this. I think Tennessee could beat the Raiders right now.
No, he can't. No, he can't. We already played him and got blown out.
Yeah, and right now,
one of the Raiders
are in right now, they might be the worst team in the NFL. They might not end up with the worst record.
This was the Premier League. We could have a regulation game.
It's in Vegas. Opposing teams travel well to come to Vegas for the weekend. There's going to be more Bronco fans. There's going to be like a home field advantage for the Broncos this weekend. They're going to blow out the Raiders.
John, where are you going to go? Is it a blowout?
Man,
Blowout
turn
city?
the lights out on the Raiders. The party's over. What is Pete Carroll doing there? I mean, just think about being Pete Carroll right now, right? He got grandkids. Well, first of all, he's a libtard, so he deserves this. But first, I mean, he goes there. He's got grandkids. Like, come out of retirement for this mess. Like, and he got to fire Brian Kelly in the middle of the season. It's like, you can't make this stuff up, Pete. I mean, they're going to get crushed. This is a terrible franchise, a terrible team, but they still blew the Titans out. So to whoever said the Titans would beat them, no, they would. Now they got beat 28-3. As we suck more. I like Denver.
Yeah, I like Denver as well. And this next matchup could be the game of the week. The Chicago Bears, the surprising Chicago Bears. Anytime you think they're not for real, they are showing us they are. They're at Green Bay. Green Bay has rounded back into form. Green Bay is favored heavily by 6.5. It is in Green Bay. Over under is 44.5. Trent, this line seems a little big to me. What are you thinking?
Yeah, the Bears looked impressive against Philadelphia on Black Friday, and I think the public is going to see that as a reflection of the Bears rather than the Eagles being not as good as they were. But I think Green Bay is one of the best teams in the league. I think they handle the Bears and give the Bears a reality check at Lambeau Field.
Chris, it does feel like the Bears are in for a reality check. Caleb Williams has played well, but the advanced analytics on his passing, he's shown that he's kind of just stayed in the same form. It's really the running game that's been able to get them by right now. What are you thinking here?
I love the Packers at home here, but not by 6.5. I think the Bears cover that. It's just too much of a spread. The Bears are a good football team. They're not a great football team. They're a little overrated. And I think the Packers at home cover that. I think they cover that 6.5 in Green Bay, but not win it outright.
Coach Vince, this one feels like, for the better that doesn't listen to our show and doesn't educate themselves. You look at the records, you see 6.5, and you go, the dumb public is going to put it on the Bears right now, which makes me lean to Green Bay. But what do you think?
Yeah, it's a very strange line to see a team that's 9-3 or whatever the Bears record is to be a 6.5 point underdog. But I do the two teams. John says this, in a situation like this, bet on the best team. I truly believe Green Bay's the better of the two teams. With that said, being at home as well too, we'll take the Packers in this one.
John, where are you going to go?
I love the Bears here. You guys are saying it's a reality check. It's a reality check for the Packers. I mean, if you watch that Bears game on Friday, okay, if you actually watch that game, this team is getting better every single week. Both sides of the ball, both lines push the Eagles around. That great defensive line the Eagles have always said to have, I know they had some injuries. They blew them off the ball. They couldn't stop. They missed tackles. I mean, talk about frauds. The Eagles are frauds. This is the thing. It's kind of like Indiana playing Ohio State. I don't really know how good the Bears are. And I'm going to find out this weekend. I'm taking the Bears at 6.5. I think they got a shot to win this game.
Looks like the line.
You are who your record says you are, right, John?
You are what your record says you are. They're 9-3 for a reason. And going to Philadelphia and it was not that they had turnovers or anything. They blew them off the ball. That offensive line that they've got is something to behold. They are going to run this football until the Packers try to figure out how to stop him. And then Caleb Williams he's getting better. This is a team that's getting better every single week. And I tell you what, nobody's going to want to play them first round of the playoffs. Nobody's going to want to play this team. They are to me right now something to behold. I love the Bears in this game.
Well, currently right now they're the number 1 seed in the NFC, are they not?
They are.
They are, and they should be. Of course, they're 9-3 because they're 9-3. That's why.
And Caleb Williams went to Lambeau last year and won, so he's done it before.
Look, the money line's plus 260. I like that.
The spread moved to 7 as well, so it's -7. So you're getting a +7 over there, John. If you go to
the touchdown, I mean,
right,
beat them. I mean, go in there and beat. It's like, you go to the Packers. It's cold there. Well, what the hell do you think it is in Chicago with that wind in Soldier Field? These guys are accustomed to this. They're no longer the doormat they were. They're playing with purpose. Good luck beating them.
When do you officially become accustomed? Like Caleb Williams comes from the West Coast. He's been there 2 years now. Is he a cold weather guy? I don't know. How does this work? When do you become a cold weather guy? All right.
It's cold for both teams. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's cold. So what?
Well, Caleb's, isn't he from New Jersey?
Is he from Jersey? Played USC? Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Jersey boy.
Via Oklahoma.
Jersey boy. All right. Here's one that's not going to be cold. It's in the dome. Los Angeles Rams at Arizona. Is it a dome or is it retractable? I don't know. All right. The Rams are heavily favored here by 8.5, coming off a loss, bringing that NFC West division into like a quagmire potentially. So, Trent, where are you going here? This is a heavy spread. Arizona's been playing pretty good.
Yeah, everyone's going to be expecting the Rams to bounce back this week. And the betting percentages reflect that. 80% of the bets, 87% of the money on the spread. For that reason, I'm going to take the home dog, bet the Cardinals.
Yeah. Chris, were you going to go against the dumb public, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, I like Trent's analysis here. I mean, obviously this is a mismatch on paper, but where the Rams and the Cardinals, who wants it more at home? I think for 8.5, Cardinals are better than what they're showing. Even though you say that the team is the spread or your record is your record. I like the Cardinals here, and obviously not to win it outright, but I think they cover 8.5.
Yeah, last week, Coach Vince, the Rams looked just a little out of sync. I expect them to bounce back, but enough to beat them by 9.
Yeah, a week ago, they were the number 1 seed in the NFC, and we were basically saying they might be the best team in the NFL. And then they go to Carolina and get beat, and all of a sudden now we're thinking seriously about taking Arizona over them. So I will go back in time a week ago and think that the real Rams will show up this weekend and blow out the Cardinals.
John, where are you going to go with this?
When you cut the cancer out of your body and you catch it in time, you have a full recovery. The Cardinals cut the cancer out. Kyler Murray, they made a tough decision. They went with him as far as they could do it. They cut him out. Now they're getting better. This is a team on a mission. The fact that what Trent said, ever go to Las Vegas? Ever see those big, beautiful hotels and the Wynn and this and that? Any of them ever go out of business? No. Why? Because people bet 87% on the Rams and lose. That's why I'm going with the Cardinals +9.
Absolutely. And you're going to sleep well at night knowing that you put the right bet in. And I'm sure when you're sleeping, you're on your MyPillow, right? Well,
I'll tell you what, I travel with my MyPillow here on the bus. I got to stay in the bus tonight because all the hotels are sold out. So I had to move my staff across town, but there was only a couple of rooms, so I gave it to them. So I got to stay here on the bus tonight, right in the parking lot. But I don't care because I got my MyPillow comforter, I got my MyPillow pillows, I got my MyPillow Giza sheets, I got my MyPillow slippers, I got heat, I got it all. So I'm going to be fine. MyPillow right now. You can get all this stuff in time for Christmas. It's so fantastic. Just go to mypillow.com, promo code Godzilla. MyPillow.com, promo code Godzilla. Slippers, $39.98. Gotta buy them, man. Put them under the tree. Your kids, your significant other, your whatever. They're gonna love those slippers. From MyPillow, $39.98. Marked down from $150. Best slippers ever you're ever gonna have. They got so much good stuff on there for Christmas. Go to mypillow.com, promo code Godzilla. Go to town.
You can legitimately just go to our sponsors and go to their websites and get your Christmas shopping done. I love
exactly.
it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I love Godzilla Wins. It's a Saturday show. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, joined by John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, Chris Saxman, and Trent Connor. We got 2 games left, about 5-6 minutes to get into them, and they're both really good matchups. Yeah, the aforementioned Houston Texans playing Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City 6-6, Houston 7-5, trying to play their way into the playoffs. Houston has the number 1 defense in the NFL. Kansas City just looks like a shell of themselves, but Kansas City is favored by 3.5, over under 41.5. Trent, Kansas City's season is on the line. What's going to happen here? Both teams' seasons may be on the line.
Yeah, the first thing I look at in this game is third down defense. Chiefs are 26th, giving up 43% of third downs. Texans are 2nd in the league. I expect more money to come in on the Chiefs closer to game time, and I think Houston will cover this game.
Yeah, Chris, you're going to get, it's the Chiefs. It's hard to tell because they're just so popular around the world. So there's a lot of dumb money going in on this one. What do you think?
They're not that popular in my household. I can't tell you the level of hate I've learned to have over the Kansas City Chiefs. They got so many calls for so many years. It's ridiculous. And everybody knows it. And people in even Kansas City, they go, yeah, we get a lot of calls. So this is pure emotion bet for me, which is stupid. I think the Texans win outright, money line, Houston Texans. The Chiefs are not that good this year, and they're going to go 8-9 and miss the playoffs.
Coach Vince, you're from the outside looking in. Steelers fans talking about other teams getting ref preferential treatment is kind of weird, right? So yeah, there's a lot of Seattle fans from 2006 that would call and yell, think the Steelers were that team back in the day. Where are you going with this one?
Well, you think Chris's hatred for the Chiefs is something. Remember, my 49ers lost twice to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and probably should have won both games, but the referees kept their flags in their pocket while they were holding Nick Bosa in both games throughout the game.
Yes.
I've been singing the Chiefs' demise since this summer. And I am getting a thorough enjoyment out of watching a team that will now, after this week, fall to below 500.
John,
take the Houston Texans in this one.
Oh, John, what are you thinking here? Ding dong, the witch is dead, or
they're a shell of their former self, and now they're not getting the calls. See, what Zach's been left out is, they got all the calls, and that's how they were winning all these games. They got every call. Now they're not getting the calls because they're 6-6, and people are onto them. And as soon as you make one of these calls, like 3rd and 7, and they sack Mahomes, and then there's a flag, roughing the passer, or some rinky-dink, defensive pass interference, rinky-dink call where the guy touched him, a flag, right? How many times have we seen that? Over and over and over. Now it's stopped. They have to stop it. Now they're losing because they're not that good without the referees throwing laundry all over the field to help them win all these games. Party's over for them. Texans go in there and stop them.
Yeah, I know. I've learned my lesson. I'm never betting against the Chiefs. Just when their back is down, for some reason they're going to linger around.
They're not any good. They're no good this season. Vince was right. He was saying this since July.
They figured out, but if
they're aging, and they're not going to have the benefit of referees bailing them out game after game after game. And when they stop bailing them out, that's when they stopped winning.
And if they lose, they are done. There's no chance for the division.
And
also,
baby.
This wild card race is just so many teams.
They finish up with Texans, Chargers, and the Broncos. 3 of the last 5 games.
Ooh, that's not what you want this season when you're
only game they're going to win is the Titans game.
Yeah, they'll go 8-9. I think it's 8-9. This is the game that'll decide between 8-9 or 9-8.
Right.
Oh, that's unbelievable to talk about that. But every dynasty has to come to an end sometime or have to be rebuilt.
Ask me if I care. Ask me if I care. I do not care.
Coach,
rounding off
Vince called this in July.
All right. We'll see what happens. I'm going with the Chiefs this week. I don't think it's going to happen. They're just going to linger around because the NFL wants it so for December. Okay. Monday Night Football to end week 14 is a really good matchup. Philadelphia Eagles at Los Angeles Chargers, both teams at 8-4. Chargers trying to keep their division hopes alive with the Broncos with only two losses in that column. Philadelphia is favored by 2.5 here. Trent, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, Herbert's expected to play after having surgery on his broken left hand. I think Omari and Hampton's also going to return Monday night for the Chargers. I think they run the ball effectively against the Eagles, and they win this game.
Axman, where are you going to go?
Yeah, I like that analysis, Trent. I think the Eagles are just they're missing something. They're not firing on all cylinders right now, are they? And the Chargers are still a damn good football team. Hate saying that too, but I like LA to win out right here.
Coach Vince, is this the Eagles going down the tube similar to the Chiefs?
Yeah, kind of similar a path what the Chiefs are dealing with this year as well too. And I think like I said, I don't know if it was Chicago's dominance or Philadelphia's demise that caused that blowout on Black Friday. But hey, give Justin Herbert a lot of credit here. I mean, a broken left hand. I know it's his non-throwing hand, but still, that's an important part of the body as a quarterback on handoffs and ball security and all that kind of stuff. But it is indoors. It is in the confines of SoFi. So big game for the Chargers, no question. And plus, they're getting points on top of that.
John, you just love this Eagles team. Where are you going to go with this?
Frauds. This is my second best bet of the week. I don't have to give you the analysis. Team is totally fraudulent, just like the Lions. I'm taking the 2.5. Chargers win this whole game.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers as well. And that is our show. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank our sponsors, West Virginia SportsNation.com, WV The Torch, Healthy Cell, The Wellness Company, Rosie's, and My Pillow. Want to thank my panel, John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, Trent Connor, Chris Saxman. I'm Mitch Rogers. Stay tuned. Jay Delsing's golf show is next. Y'all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you here next week.
Go Dogs.